Good morning, my YouTube viewers. It is Palestine here. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to update my viewers on the status of my mother's condition and how it affects me. So apparently, my family is in this text messaging ring, and so they're text messaging people, but I'm not included in the ring. They're not sending me any text messages, but they send my sister the text messages, and my sister forwards them on to me, or that's what she says. But I don't think that I am receiving all of the text messages, and the reason for that is because yesterday my sister said that my mother was confused and she didn't know who people were. So I never heard of that. That was the first time I had ever heard of that. And apparently it had been put in a text message. And I never received any text message from my sister or anybody else saying that my mother is confused. But apparently my mother is confused. She doesn't know who people are. Obviously she's got a broken neck. It's going to take a really long time for this break to heal. I don't know what they did in the operation, but I'm just thinking from what I know about broken bones, they may have put a pin in the bone because nobody's telling me anything. So since I'm not being told much, the only thing that I can do is speculate. But I'm thinking that if they gave my mother an operation for the broken neck and it was a bad break, I'm thinking possibly they could have put a pin in the bone. But I never received any text message saying that my mother was confused and she didn't know who people were. The first that I received that text message was from my sister yesterday, and now she's going back and saying that I did know. Well, I didn't know, and I went back and looked at all the messages that I have on Facebook Messenger, and I didn't see any message to that regard. But just if, and apparently it's supposed to be normal when somebody is taken off a ventilator. It's supposed to be normal that they're confused because she had been on a ventilator and she was sedated. And so they took her off the sedation, but they put her on drugs to relax her. And they finally took her off the ventilator. And then when they took her off the ventilator, apparently she was confused and didn't know who people were. And then so in addition to that, now she can't swallow her medication. So they've got to investigate why she can't swallow. And so that's another issue, not being able to swallow her medication. And then she also is having physical therapy. I don't know what kind of physical therapy she's having, but she's having physical therapy. So some of her friends have gone to visit her, and apparently my stepdad told my mother's friend that he was having problems coping without her in the house. He didn't like the fact that she wasn't in the house. And then so I think he was going to go visit my mother in the hospital. But the simple fact of the matter is that my stepdad is in his late 80s, and should he even be driving in the late 80s, I know that in the UK, if you're really old, there's some issues about driving, and at some point people do have to give up driving. But should my stepdad even be driving in his late 80s, but he's still driving, I don't know if he drove to the hospital himself or if somebody took him. And this is another issue that years ago, I think it was during COVID or just after COVID, I said to my mom, because my mom owns a lot of property. I mean, she owns so much property that she could easily sell one of her houses and help me out, but she doesn't. And But I said to her, I said, well, why don't you sell everything and move into a retirement home? And she said, no, she doesn't want to. She's got lots of properties. She's got a property in Yale County that I've never been to, but my cousin has been to it, has taken pictures. And she's got the property where they live, and then a property at the bottom of the hill where they live, and then I think another property next door to where they live, and then another property on a road, I'm not going to say the name of the road, where they live. And when I was a child, it had 2 trailers on it. So I don't know what's on it now. So we're going to say that a minimum, my mom has 5 properties, and she's got properties I've never been to and I've never seen, but my cousin has been to, and my cousin has taken pictures of it. And my mom does have very good taste. She likes to decorate her houses really well, and that's a problem. My mama's got all these properties. She's got all these nice things, and she sat back and did nothing while her daughter was living in destitution. She sat back and did nothing while her daughter was struggling. And that's something she's going to have to live with. I mean, in the afterlife, when she dies, she's going to have to be held accountable for the fact that she had all these material possessions and she didn't do anything for her children. Well, she certainly didn't do anything for me. She certainly had enough money to pay for my education, but she didn't want to. So yeah, so my mom's got all this stuff. She could easily sell everything and move into a retirement community, but she doesn't want to do that. She said she wanted to stay in that house she's living in for the rest of her life, and maybe she will have gotten her wish. I don't know. But if they were in a retirement community, then there would be better access for my stepdad and my mom to get transportation to these doctor's appointments and hospital appointments and things like that. And that's another thing that they're not taking into consideration when they're living in outskirts of Little Rock. And the thing is that I don't know what arrangements she has made with these friends of hers to take her to doctor's appointments and things like that. Obviously, she's made some kind of arrangement. And so basically, my stepdad's going to visit her. Apparently, he went to visit her and he was sleeping on the chair next to her. And then my mother's had one of her customers went to visit her because my mother was still cutting hair even at 84. And then she's got a longtime friend who she's known for well over 60 years. She went to visit her as well. So my mom is getting visitors, but I'm not so sure about this business that she's confused and she doesn't know who people are. And I just said to my sister, because I wanted to phone my mother, and my sister's like, well, she's in the hospital and she's confused. She doesn't know who anybody is. And my sister doesn't seem to think it's a good idea for me to phone her, even though I'm paying to be able to phone the United States. And so I haven't phoned her yet because I'm thinking, well, if she's confused and she doesn't know who people are, then she's not going to know who I am. So it's a bit of a difficult situation for me to be in, because I want to phone her, but she's in such a bad way, she might not know who I am if I do phone her. Not that she would care. You know, one of the really important issues is my mom thinks so much more of her friends than she does her own children. And that is why the situation has come about in the first place. So now that I've updated you on my mom, the fact that she's confused, she doesn't know who people are, she can't swallow her medication, and they're going to have to investigate why she can't swallow, but I'm sure having a tube in down your throat is a big indicator. And then she's also going to physical therapy. I also wanted to discuss another issue that's bothering me, is that my dyslexic friend, I found out that he's being exploited. And unfortunately, I can't reveal everything I know because it's not my story to tell. And if he ever saw this video, he might not be happy. But he's being exploited. He's being exploited at a place of worship. And at this place of worship, the nature of this exploitation means that at the best case scenario, there's a conflict of interest, because these people at this place of worship are supposed to be looking after his spiritual well-being, but they're not. And I wish I could tell you more about it, but I can't. The only thing that I can tell you, as my boyfriend said, well, what do you think would happen if one of the vicars at the church we go to was taking money from us? So, unfortunately, I can't tell you very much about the nature of this exploitation, other than to say it's at a place of worship, but it's not the church we go to. It's not the church that my boyfriend and I go to. It's not even a Christian church. And at this place of worship, they're not keen on my dyslexic friend seeing my boyfriend and me. And they said, oh, well, be careful, they don't turn you into a Christian. My boyfriend and I have never said one thing to my dyslexic friend about whether he should be a Christian or not. He has gone to the church we go to of his own free will. We never even invited him. He invited himself. But his spiritual needs at this place of worship, that's not the church my boyfriend and I go to, are not being met. And it is a conflict of interest, and it is exploitation. I'm really upset about it. I'm sorry that I can't tell you more, but there's a lot going on that I can't tell you. But it's not my story to tell. It's his story to tell. And he would be really upset if he found out that I was saying what I know. So that's it. That concludes this video. I've talked to you about my mother's health and the exploitation of my friend. And I'm going to go ahead and close this video. Thank you so much for watching my video and keeping up with what's going on. And I'll be communicating with you soon, because I've got lots of videos that I would like to make, but unfortunately, because my mother fell and broke her neck, that sort of takes a priority, even though I can't go see her for the reasons that I've quoted in previous videos. And all I can do is just wonder what's going on, and hopefully I can phone her at some point, because that's all I can do is just phone her. And I've also told you about the exploitation of my friend. So thank you so much again for watching my video. If you like my video, please like and subscribe, and I'll be communicating with you soon.